Okay, so the math. Basically, this was our math review and research revision, what we were looking at, kind of what we found. So we had to look at the math scoping sequence for the entire school. They had to identify the areas that looked really strong, areas that looked weak, next slide tells you what they are. Then we had, of course, there was a lot of discussion in different faculty meetings. We'd talk about math and different things, particular topics. We'd look and analyze the ERB results in very different ways to see how they applied and how we saw these patterns. Were the patterns that we saw the weaknesses in, obviously, were they showing up in all the scores? And they were. Direct correlation. And then we were looking at, so they have Sadler Oxford math program as your base from K through 5. How's that working? How does it line up with the other programs out there? What version do we have? Do we have the latest version within the last 5 years? That kind of stuff. And then we looked at 4 different programs, and then the middle school math program. We had to check that our lower school is aligning with the middle school. Okay, and then these are the areas that we had areas of concern. Okay, so that's what we found, and these are our specific target areas that now we need to do even better. Okay, and then in terms of the standardized testing, how that showed up, though, those areas, and so how it kind of presented in the broader categories was in those number sense theory, measurement, and then with the problem solving, there still was, even though the middle school program is almost all problem solving based, we need more younger, and so there was needing to be more built around that and understanding more inquiry based, learning how to deconstruct. Miss O's program in the modernization with all its STEM and the engineering process and all that inquiry base, that totally correlates with all the math. And so all of this, the math and the science working together, should helpfully boost all of those areas. And then these were some of the professional development areas. So the lower school teachers, they read mathematical mindsets. Lisa Rokas did a math course at Stanford to update and get brush up for her lower school class. And then they had, we have a partnership with St. Mary's. And they are providing professors, and the professors need hours anyway, so it's like we're helping each other out. So one of their math professors came out and did an in-service workshop for some of the teachers who teach math. I was there last year. I am not a math teacher, thank God. So those were some of the things that we did. Okay, so these were the basic 4 math programs: Sadler, Oxford, Singapore Math, Bridges, which is the program that is supposed to go prior to or is recommended to go before CPM Math. We were wondering how is that implemented. It was completely online based, so there were a couple drawbacks, and so that's what we were like, okay, that was our kind of top one we were looking at. And then again, a free online one called Engage New York. They're all really great. There was a lot of similarities. The one things that we kind of liked about what we had, everything was being addressed. We just didn't have as strong of an online component as what we found, and the individualization part of it. For kids who are really good at math, what are we doing for them when they're done? Kids who need remediation, what are we doing for them? How are they going to all get there, right? Because that's the standard. We need them all there. Sometimes we're going to be at different times where they achieve that line. So what are we doing to get them there? Okay, so our action plan. So we made sure so this Math Counts program, which is, I think it's more like a daily mental math kind of thing that Mr. Zippin implemented. Then we have the lower school there, so they're going to continue using what they use. They've talked about Mr. Zippin's kits for math in middle school have tons of manipulatives, and then we took out all what we had from the prior ones, and they're saying where and which ways in the lower school can we even add in more hands-on experiences with math. So they've been doing that. There's the online program called IXL, which I have a video about, a short video, so I'll tell you about that they're using. And that's why the tablets have been so important, because when kids are done with math or they need extra help, they can use on this tablet. They have a little individual account that tracks them and gives you constant feedback and tracking. And so especially if you're starting to use it in kindergarten, I know Miss Preisman is really into it. Her and the first grade teacher, I know for a fact they almost do it every single day. They're training back. And so if they keep doing them over the years through 5th grade, we're going to have a really good handle and a lot of data on how your child's doing in particular at any point in their development. And then when they're ready to move to middle school, okay, then we're very aware of what areas they need to work on and what they're really good at. Okay, anything else? Okay. And then, and my job with the curriculum committee is to make sure that this is all implemented. What are we doing for implementation? How are we tracking it? Do they need more development or professional development around math and implementation of manipulatives and IXL and technology? Kids do a lot of projects, but they do them at school. They don't do them at home. And if they do, it's little bits, snippets of information that they have to do to prepare for the next day. Yes, they learn. That's one thing that I found that, especially, I know I can speak for the middle, but for all of us actually, I know that we're really good with helping the kids learn how to develop time management skills, working on executive functioning, so time management, breaking out tasks, when are things due, being personally accountable for things, being responsible. It's like, that's our thing. But really, what do you need for life to be really a well-adjusted, happy person who does well in your job? You need to have good executive function skills. We're finding that they're not there. The one thing that I'm finding too is that the kids that stay at Saklan from young on are so much better prepared in a lot of different ways, but especially with organization and executive function. Those are the extra things. That's one of the extra things they get. They get so much more love, support. We know them so well. It is a pure joy to teach your kids for 3 years, believe it or not. It can be rough, but I know them well. I don't have to start every year. A lot of times in other schools when they have kids, you're getting new batch all the time, right? Every year. So every year you waste about a month trying to get to know them. You're trying to assess them. Who's this? Helen? How well they work together? That's what a teacher's job is, right? Getting a baseline. The baseline is there, okay? Then you just add a couple new kids in the bunch, see how they fare, you watch them, but you're off to the races. And so we can get right into stuff. I mean, I can't even believe how far I am into our culture project for 7th grade. They're just going amazing. And I almost started on like day 2 because I could, because I know them, right? And I knew the dynamics of the class, which was awesome. In terms of compassion, we have our advisory program. Miss O and I actually worked with the Project Happiness, Randy Taryn. She is she wrote a book, she's a filmmaker. So we were a pilot school sort of for her. She wrote, and a couple of her colleagues, she had Miss O and I basically were kind of like consultants, and we helped do a few lessons. Some of the kids were even filmed at Saklan, us teaching some of these character development lessons and things. So we helped with that, and a lot of it's been implemented into our current SEL program. Family groups is family groups in itself is just a phenomenon. We believe it or not, it's very rare to do family groups. And if you don't know, I think most of you do, but right now in leadership, we're preparing for the first one. So the 8th graders, they're either working alone or in pairs, and they are teachers of a family, little mini family, and they have kids from grades 1 through 7 inside in their little group. Typically about 8 kids per group. The 7th graders are assistant teacher. We do real lessons. Miss O is the coordinator of that. Her and I work together. We write lessons. They're based on all of our character development skills. So this month it's self-regulation. We can do self-regulation every day forever. Self-regulation rough, right? Prefrontal cortex. That's what we always say. Get the prefrontal cortex working. So we're working, and we have a great, we're kind of tying it all into Cookie Monster. So we try and find something that's relatable. That's the cutest video ever. I want you to look it up. It's Cookie Monster, Star Wars Cookie Monster self-regulation. Put that in YouTube, you will die. It is so funny. So it talks about how hard he can, you know, because he always gets the cookies, right? So he has to learn. Yoda comes, and Yoda is the green little monster guy, and he's trying to teach him how to have self-regulation tools and things. So anyway, we made a lesson around that. The 8th graders are in charge of teaching that. So they learn a million different skills in that, just within that kind of these once a month lessons. The kids, you know, they're learning to present, they're learning how to get along with their peers, they're doing all this real stuff and bonding around these real topics. So I can say, your kids leave, they're good people. They are great people, actually. I would trust any of the kids I graduate from Saklan to run a company, to do anything. And I think, in fact, these are the next kind of kids we want to run our companies, because they are not only smart, because smart's a given, you guys. I mean, of course we have to be great academically. Why? I mean, we wouldn't be in business as long as we weren't, right? So of course we have to be, and of course it's a lot of work, but we have to keep updated, right? But they're getting that. But what they don't get other places, they don't get the kind of close contact, the teacher relationships and the support, and these other fun, cool opportunities like family groups, like doing community service work, like going on these amazing trips that we go on, EF tours, we go to Japan, we do all these other special things. And of course, these are literally, okay, so this slide took me less than a minute to write. I was like, I could go on and on and on and on. And these were just things off the top of my head of why your kids get something more, why they do have an academic edge. You can be the smartest kid in the world, the smartest person in the world, but if you don't know how to socialize, communicate, collaborate, present, do all these other things, then what? I mean, you can't live in a box. I mean, I guess you could be a programmer and sit in a closet, but, you know, other than that, you know, you really need to be a real person, you know, and that's what I think we produce, real quality people who like themselves, hopefully, because middle school is a tough time. They're developing their identity, and we help along that path, that search that they go on of like, who am I? What do I believe in? We help them develop their morals, their standards for life. And usually most of you have your kids at this school for a reason, because our morals and our values match up. And so your kids they're getting, it's matching up with what you say at home. So they're actually living it, they're having to breathe it, they have other adults saying it, they're seeing it in action. That's how your kids become great people. What I found is a huge disconnect in education. That's why I hated public school where I was. I hated it because I couldn't do what I knew was right. I had to go through all these dog and pony shows of, I did open court for 2 hours today, and the kids were bored to tears, drooling on the desk, hey, I did my open court, you know, and it's totally uninspiring, right? Or, you know, the things that would go home at, like the kids, oh my God, the things they deal with at home, and, you know, you had to teach everything that walked through your door, in which every kid deserves the quality education. The beautiful thing about this is, we're all aligned because of your choice of coming to the school, and you saw something here, and so we're all working for the same thing. We're working with you to help your child be the best they can be with these good morals. One of the things too that, and if you know Mr. Prestiani, you know this is true, this huge part about self-advocacy, that is something that I also have found does not happen nearly enough in most education. Children need to be able to go, and this is why they're successful in other schools, okay? They're able to go up to the teacher and say, hey, I need a little more, or I don't understand, or can I get this instead, or whatever. They're already, I'm so proud of the kids already. I mean, I have some of them, they're in leadership class already in 9th grade, never been huge, you know, Kylie Choi. She's in leadership there at Northgate. Doesn't know anybody hardly. Doesn't know hardly any students there. She joined leadership. She got in. She made the tennis varsity team. She's, you know, they're in these high-level classes. They're coming back and they're feeling excited for their new opportunities, but they're also able to handle themselves in these environments. And that is it.